Welcome back to Behind the Caution Tape. I'm your host, CrashLit. It was a busy week last week in USC athletics. I was kind of on a rampage as I discussed, and it's going to be another busy week this week. So let's get into everything that happened and everything that's happening with the USC Trojans. A couple of things I want to get into before we really dive into all of the sports is we're now at the 2-month mark. We hit it 2 days ago. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting me since I began this podcast 2 months ago. And then also a big congratulations to USC women's soccer for winning the University of Southern California's first Big Ten conference championship. They beat UCLA in a 1-0 thriller at the LA Galaxy's stadium at Dignity Health Sports Park yesterday. So it was a great game. We will get into that at the end of the episode today. But I just wanted to kind of go through those two things. Thank everyone who's supporting and just give them a big shout out right at the top of the piece for their work and just getting the first Big Ten title for the school. So it's a big deal today. Big deal yesterday. Big deal today, obviously, too. History was made. Anyways, let's now get into everything going on. So beach volleyball took part in the Surf City College Pairs Championship in Huntington. Last couple of days. It was down at the Huntington Pier. I think my dad actually went and took our dog to go see it when he was at the when he was walking him in that area. Decided to take him to the pier that day. So obviously, a lot of definitely fun for both of them. It sounded like it was a good time. So just kind of giving my thoughts based on what I know there. And then obviously big congratulations to both Maddie White and Maven Thomas for winning the event the individual pairs. I think it was a pairs tournament from a bunch of different schools. And so big congratulations to both Thomas and White for being able to go out there and win the event. So big deal to them. Not sure what is up next for beach volleyball. As I find out more, I will definitely make sure to keep you all informed. Nothing has been announced for either. And still, they have not yet released their spring schedule. Lacrosse, meanwhile, had their Navy play in Annapolis on Saturday, where they played Navy, but I wasn't able to find scores or information about other opponents. From the Navy website, it appeared they only played USC, so I don't know if it was just USC was calling it that or what the deal with it was, but pretty much as far as I tell, lacrosse definitely played Navy, but not sure who else. And then they played Georgetown yesterday at Georgetown, so they just did an East Coast trip for the completion of their fall schedule, and no scores were provided. That closes out the lacrosse team's fall schedule, and they'll be back in action in early February with their spring regular season schedule. That is yet to be announced. I will provide that information when it is made available. Men's volleyball, meanwhile, gets their fall action going as they have released both their fall and spring season schedules online, but no official announcements on social media. I suspect that's probably because dates are still being finalized and confirmed, so they probably want to wait is my best guess. I don't know for sure on that. I will get more in. I'll definitely make sure to inform you when it's officially released when they announce it on social media. But it appears that for the fall schedule, the men's team will have 3 fall tournaments, the first of which is this weekend, when they'll host USC will host their fall tournament in the upstairs in Galen Center in the pavilion part of it. So that first serve kicks off at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And going forward, just in case anything with times are a little unclear, especially with USC now in the Big Ten, if I don't say Pacific time, if I just say the time, just assume it's Pacific time, considering I'm in Los Angeles recording out of my room at the Surf House on 29th Street. So for those reasons, just assume that it's Pacific time unless I say otherwise. I will try to specify, but if I forget, just assume that it's Pacific time. And I'll try to just make sure to emphasize that each time due to the confusion, especially with, people potentially listening in other parts of the country. So anyways, that's what's going on with men's volleyball. Their first serve of their spring season will be January 9th. First Damon in the Galen Center Pavilion as well. And I'll keep you informed on any information with their fall schedule and any schedule changes that occur. Cross country team, meanwhile, we'll will take place in their Big Ten championships. They'll be all day in Savoy. They'll start with their, or it actually will start at 8:35 a.m. Pacific time. It'll be available on the Big Ten Plus. So if you have that streaming subscription, take advantage of it. Watch it if you can. And this will be a chance for USC to try to capture its school's second Big Ten championship today. And this is the first they've had to travel all season. So I think for the most part, I'll give school credit that women's cross country has not had to travel too far. So we'll see how they do. And definitely best of luck to them this week. Women's golf, meanwhile, will take place in the East Lake Cup in Atlanta today at the East Lake Golf Club, starting today and running through Wednesday. That'll be shown also on the Golf Channel and Peacock. So far I haven't, it hasn't started yet, but it starts at 12 p.m. Pacific time today. We'll run from 12 to 3 Pacific time each day with stroke play today, semifinal match play tomorrow, and then match play, and then finals match play, and then the consolation will be also tomorrow. So all those will run from 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. And the competing schools, which are three of the best, as well as USC, is also among there at the top of the women's golf teams in the country. So it'll be UCLA, LSU, and Oregon taking part alongside USC. And USC's starting lineup, as announced today on social media, will be Jasmine Koo, Catherine Park, Bailey Shoemaker, Cindy Koo, and Kylie Chong in that order. So best of luck to the women's golf team as they go to beat the Bruins, Tigers, and Ducks. Men's tennis, meanwhile, took place finished up at competition in the ITA Southwest Regional Championships in Tempe last Tuesday. So that went from October 17th through October 22nd. And next up, they will be back in action from Friday to Sunday at the Jack Kramer Classic in Rolling Estates at the Jack Kramer Club for tennis this weekend. And then women's tennis as well is back in action after a week off. They will also be taking part in the Jack Kramer Classic from those same days at the same times roughly. Now let's get into some men's basketball. So USC had their charity exhibition against Gonzaga in Palm Desert, and USC beat 6th ranked Gonzaga 96-93 in the game. And while certainly I think obviously you see Gonzaga's 6th rank, and we do have to understand that preseason rankings don't mean too much. Things change all the time. It happens every year, let's be honest. But still, just beating a team with kind of the, brand strength and just caliber of Gonzaga, that's a big name in college hoops. So that was a big win for the Trojans. And I think it just helps them, with their chemistry. It kind of looked like they were struggling. I was able to watch about the first half of it on the Big Ten Plus before going to volleyball on Saturday. But then anyways, it just shows that they're just, getting more comfortable around each other. And I think we're starting to see kind of certain guys just kind of prove that they're going to be the leaders, kind of the guys on this team based on what we saw. And it appears that's going to be St. Thomas and Desmond Claude are kind of being the most reliable guys. They're playing the most minutes. They've scored the most points against the Zags. So I think they're going to be guys to look out for. And it seems like that was kind of to be expected in some regards, considering they were the two selected to go to Big Ten Media Days with Eric Musselman. But still, I think definitely it's a big win for this team. And I think that definitely helps them just with a big boost of confidence before they start the season. And they will open the regular season a week from today. So at 7 p.m. on the Big Ten Network against Chattanooga. So from Tennessee, I'll be at Galen Center. I will be at that one, and I'll definitely be talking about more, especially probably be recording a bit earlier like I am today. And we'll definitely make sure to get that in before tip-off. So we'll keep you posted on that. Women's basketball, meanwhile, I don't know if they had any exhibition games or not. If they did, they were not open to the public. However, some big news today. Talia von Oelhoffen was named today to the Nancy Lieberman Award watch list. Literally just minutes before I started recording, I checked my phone and saw that. So I was like, better add that to the notes real quick. And then obviously last week, I think it happened after we recorded, Juju Watkins and Kiki Iriafen were named AP preseason All-Americans. And the Trojans kick off their season next week in Paris. So a week from today, there'll be a 9 a.m. tip-off on ESPN against Ole Miss, who is ranked 20th in the country to start the season. USC is ranked number 3 in the AP poll. definitely should be a good matchup, but I think it'll just give us a taste of kind of just how this team looks to just plow into the Big Ten and just make a statement right away. I think Lindsey Gottlieb has this program in an amazing place. They're coming off an incredible run last year to the Elite Eight with a Pac-12 tournament championship in Vegas. I was at that. So it's just a lot of fun. I think this team's going to be a ton of fun to support. So if you're looking for a team to cheer on this winter, definitely make sure you go out to see women's basketball. Women's volleyball, meanwhile, had a tough weekend. Had a 3-2 reverse sweep loss to Michigan State on Thursday, followed by a 3-1 loss to third-ranked Penn State on Saturday. So Allie Batenhorst had, and before I get any further, big congratulations to Mia Tuaniga on reaching 4,000 career assists against Michigan State to help USC win set one. It came on the set point in set one, but it was definitely, so congrats to her. They honored her Saturday, but it was definitely just tough to watch those. And Allie Batenhorst led the way with both games, had 23 kills against MSU, 19 against Penn State. And I think overall, just USC, I think it was two competitive matches, but they're kind of frustrating. I think definitely there's a lot to improve from on them. I think definitely Michigan State, they should have won that one, especially with them having match point in set three and just letting the Spartans just back in it and take that set. And that kind of sort of started just to change the momentum a little bit. But still, I think this team can bounce back. They're resilient. They have the ability to get 2 wins this week, but it's going to be tough. And then the Penn State loss, they were right there with them at times. A lot of those sets were pretty close. They took set 2. I think but then also they couldn't put the Nittany Lions away in set 4 to force a fifth set. So I think definitely this team is going to need to work on just kind of being able to just close out those sets, especially against good teams. They've proven they can do it. They beat Minnesota, UCLA. That was a competitive match. And even though I don't think UCLA is kind of struggling a bit this year, especially in Big Ten play, they're still a good program. And especially being a rivalry matchup, that one, of course, I wasn't too surprised it was going to go to 5. Whenever it's the rivalry, it doesn't matter how teams are doing. Both teams come out ready to play. So definitely right now, USC is in 16th in the country. I'm unable to get any because I'm recording earlier than normal. Rankings have not yet been posted, but I'm going to suspect they will probably move somewhere between 20th and 23, given the 2 losses, and especially the loss to Michigan State is really going to hurt them a little bit in the polls. But I'm confident they'll stay in that top 25. And they got 2 great opportunities to bounce back, though, this weekend against UCLA at Pauley Pavilion. That game is at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday on the Big Ten Network. And then USC hosts UW on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on Big Ten Plus. So 2 big opportunities. I think these are 2 winnable games for USC. They've beaten the Bruins once already, and they can beat UW. Definitely going to be 2 great games. So make sure you can get yourself to Pauley Pavilion on Thursday night. Definitely do so, and definitely piss off the Bruin fans showing up in a Cardinal like I will. I don't know. So every time I walk on there and on the UCLA's campus, I'm kind of worried something gonna happen to me. Nothing has happened yet, but we'll see what happens. It's definitely gonna be a very competitive 2 competitive matches this week. UCLA is struggling a bit, as I said. They're 10-9 overall, 4-6 in Big Ten. But UW's been really good this year so far, 16-4 overall, 6-4 in Big Ten play. So 2 big matches coming up, and Trojans especially, but they're now being tied in kind of 7th place in the Big Ten with Michigan, Washington, and Illinois. They definitely need to kind of get a couple wins and get themselves back on track. So lots to still play for. Obviously, I think this team can still be really special, and as they bounce back and just go on a tear the rest of the year, they could still definitely get themselves back in the conversation of being able to host at least the first 2 rounds of the NCAAs. But they definitely got to get back on track with that, especially after what I definitely think will fall. Definitely make sure to keep an eye out. I'll definitely post about it. I'll definitely make sure to keep an eye out, and just if they're in the rankings, I'll put that up on my Instagram later today. So that's definitely what's up with women's volleyball this week. Football, meanwhile, got back on track with a statement 42-20 win against Rutgers. It was all business, really satisfying to watch, even though it was definitely tough seeing the Coliseum emptier than usual. And I think just with kind of how USC season's gone and the Dodgers in the World Series and the Lakers tipping off, especially with, LeBron and Bronny with the Lakers now and all that, I wasn't surprised by it, especially how many tailgates I was watching where they had at least the Dodger game on, like the one I was at. I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if some tailgates had multiple TVs to also show the Lakers. So definitely tough seeing that. But overall, I was really impressed with that game out of the Trojans. I mean, there were times where I got a little nervous, but I just, stayed confident though. Impressed with Moss throwing for 2 touchdowns. And I like that Lincoln Riley trusted the run game more. I feel like that's something you just got to utilize if you want to win these games. Just think that because Woody Marks has done a great job with the ball this year. And I mean, he got 3 touchdowns out of it. But still, my player of the game was Makai Lemon. Wide receiver. He had 256 all-purpose yards, scored a touchdown. And then also I like that Riley put him as the kickoff returner, especially the struggles of Zachariah Branch. And I think I wouldn't be opposed. Branch is still handling punt returns, but wouldn't be opposed to seeing Lemon also take over that, considering how he took care of kickoffs. I mean, I understand that punts are a little different, especially because those ones sometimes you just have to fair catch. But I think just how he did, I think he's earned that right. And I definitely think he could be Moss's go-to option on offense. So I think definitely I was really impressed with Makai Lemon and just his all-around performance on Friday night. That was the other tough thing about that game. It was being, a Friday and not a Saturday. So that's just and a late kick too, but I don't mind the late kicks. 7:38 games. I mean, I like 5 o'clock. That's my favorite kickoff time, but 7:30 or 8's not bad either. I definitely prefer it over 3 or noon or a time like that. So I'll take that late kick over dying in the sun and improving my caution tape tan line. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's still kind of there from yesterday from the soccer game, being out in the sun. That's just what happens from doing this. So yeah, I get a tan line on my head now, as for viewers on YouTube, you can kind of see. So, anyways, we now move on to USC will face University of Washington on Saturday. I will be at that game. As I said last week, I'm not missing another football game for the remainder of the season. I'm going with my friend Austin Robertson. I'll get into that a bit more depth, but overall, it's gonna be a tough game because USC hasn't won a true road game yet, and UW is 4-0 at home. They're 4-4 in the year, 2-3 in Big Ten. USC is now 4-4, 2-4 in Big Ten, but UW has, funnily enough, failed to win on the road. They've lost all 3 of their road games, as well as their Apple Cup game at Lumen Stadium, at the home of the Seahawks, Lumen Field, against Washington State back in September. So definitely gonna be a tough one, I think, just because of the fact that UW's been solid at home and USC's struggled a bit on the road. But I think overall it's gonna be a great matchup between these two teams. It should be a fun one too. So that game is at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on Big Ten Network on Saturday. So definitely make sure to tune into that one if you aren't going. And then now we will move to men's water polo, who beat 10th ranked UC Davis to win their final home game of the season. So this is a fun one to be at. Women's water polo team was there, and I've gotten to know a lot of them. So it's always fun hanging out with them and cheering with them, especially they bring a lot of hype to those games. So always fun hanging out with them and cheering with them. So definitely good win for the men's water polo team. They moved to 16-3 on the year. And Robert Lopez Duarte and Carson Kranz had 3 goals each. It was tight for the first 3 quarters. And UC Davis is a good team if their record doesn't reflect it due to the competitive nature of their schedule. So I'll give them a lot of credit for being a really good team. But USC definitely good job prevailing. So they're currently like second, they'll probably hold. And then even though I didn't stay for it, they did also host their annual alumni game. So that was right after the match. I had some stuff I needed to take care of before volleyball that night. And next up for the Trojans, they go back on the road for the remainder of the season. I think they have 4 remaining games on the road. And this week they face at Stanford at 1 p.m. on Saturday, and then at Cal also at 1 p.m. on November 3rd. Both those games can be watched on overnight.com. So make sure to definitely tune into that. 1 p.m. Pacific time for both those games this weekend. And I'm confident that USC will probably hold it second and get back on track in MPSF play because this is a stretch run here. They're 1-2 in conference play. They want to try to get a high seeding and be well positioned for the MPSF tournament. They need to get some wins and get them fast now. For our final segment, we're back to women's soccer. So as we said, congrats to them for winning the Big Ten title. They beat, as a 6th ranked team, they beat 8th ranked UCLA yesterday at Dignity Health Sports Park, the main stadium, so home of the LA Galaxy. It's been a few years since I've been there, since I think San Diego State was playing there when they rebuilt Snapdragon Stadium after the Chargers left. That was my last time there. I put it all together. And then credit to Miley Hayes for scoring in the 36th minute in the first half to get USC the only goal of the match and just put them up ahead for good. And they're currently ranked 6th, and I expect they will move into the top 5 with that win, and especially the Big Ten title now. They're 14-1-2 on the year. They got the Big Ten regular season championship with a 10-0-1 record. That's 31 points total. And it's their first outright conference title, and their only other conference title was when the Pac-10, they had a split in the Pac-10 with UCLA and Cal back in 1998. And also it was fun watching Lawrence Gladue and Elena Sampaio dunk head coach Jane Alaconis with a water or Gatorade. Couldn't make out what was in the cooler, but it was fun watching her get dunked. And also, yeah, it was cool getting to catch up and chat with President Carol Folt and Athletic Director Jen Cohen. I've gotten to know both of them pretty well over the last few years, so it's always fun chatting with them, and especially seeing that a big match like this. So it was really great. So then I think that this team definitely should be hosting the playoffs, but up next for them, and I think definitely this can just solidify their right to host for at least the first few rounds, would be Big Ten tournament. So the top 10 teams in the conference, with the first 2 rounds taking place at the University of Minnesota, and the semifinals and finals being hosted at City Park in St. Louis, which is the home of the St. Louis SC Soccer Club. And that'll run from, the whole tournament will run from October 31st, pardon me, through November 10th. And USC is the 1 seed. They're one of 2 teams to get a bye, along with UCLA, who came in second in the conference. And they'll play the winner of number 9 Wisconsin and number 8 Ohio State at UMN on Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Big Ten Plus. And with a win, the USC is into the semifinals at City Park on November 7th. And they'll face either the winner of number 4 Michigan State and number 5 Rutgers. So definitely a lot to be excited about. Hopefully they can go take home another Big Ten title for the university and get to play, hopefully back at home. I mean, could be a little tricky considering Rawlinson Stadium isn't finished and they've been having to move around. So hopefully they can find a solution that the NCAA is satisfied with so they're able to host. I'm not sure on how all that will work, how the committee is going to factor in, if there's any certain rules they have to abide by with the NCAA. Hopefully they're playing close around to the LA County area, either close to school in the Coliseum or Dignity Health or BMO, wherever they can go, and be able to just host those early rounds. Those would be great games to go to for anyone who's able to. So yeah, that is what's pretty much going on with all things USC this week. So let's get into how I did. So last week, I went to the women's volleyball match against Michigan State, and also Penn State as well. I was at football, and then men's water polo, and then soccer. So I went 3-2 on the week, and that puts me at 20-6 on the season and 232 and 88 all time since I arrived at USC as a freshman. So this week, my plans for week are going to be definitely a bit of adventure to them this week. I'm going to Poly Pavilion for the Crosstown Showdown for women's volleyball on Thursday, that being at 6 p.m. Then Friday evening, I'm flying out to Seattle with my buddy Austin Robertson from high school. As I told you all, he came down last year for the USC UW game. So we're doing the trip back up to Seattle together. He's since graduated, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And then right after the game Saturday, we're flying back early Sunday morning in time to catch women's volleyball against UW at Galen Center. So kind of a back-to-back. So we'll have back-to-back dates with UW. So it'll be a quick turnaround there. So definitely should be a lot of fun this week. And overall, I'm really looking forward to being at those events and definitely looking forward to everything. I'll definitely try to also tune in what I can TV wise with depending on my schedule and what I got to do work wise. But overall, I think that's all we got for you today. Thank you again for tuning in to Behind the Caution Tape and supporting this podcast. It's been a ton of fun. Make sure to follow me on social media, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube at CrashLit for everything, for updates and just everything going on with USC athletics and what I'll be at. And definitely if you see me, make sure to come say hi and let's talk the Trojans. So thank you again for everyone for tuning in. I'll see you all next week and fight on.